And hello, and welcome everyone to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. The show that has taken no time off during this pandemic outbreak, because god dang it, we're professionals, and that's what you do. The show must go on no matter what. I will freely admit, though, Matt, I did have like a major bummer moment today when someone told me, like, hey, what are you gonna do anything interesting for the Victoria Long Weekend? And I'm like, Victoria Long Weekend? Yeah, this Monday is like a holiday Monday, or it would have been. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. And then I got really sad because I'm like, oh, yeah, long weekends and holidays have no meaning anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, they just keep come and go. We had our Anzac Day, our like Veterans Day sort of thing, just a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, yeah, that came and went. Usually that's like a big thing here, but yeah, couldn't really do much.
It made me extra sad, too, because it reminded me that, like, the only other holiday we've had, like, kind of since then was, like, what was it, like, Easter, when, again, I couldn't get together with my family and we couldn't have a turkey, and I'm like, oh, boo, oh, no, that reminded me of the other thing I couldn't do. Fuck, I hope this doesn't keep going. And then I'm like, oh, summer's coming up. Oh, my birthday's in summertime. Oh, no. So yeah, I had to fight through that. I had a few minutes of existential dread this week as that one washed over me, where I'm like, oh no, nothing matters anymore. Nothing matters, and I can't even, as we were talking beforehand, Amazon is slow as shit, so I can't even, like, indulge in my other bad habit that's not overeating, that is online shopping.
Yeah, well, as you say, as I was saying before as well, like it's slow for you, but not for me. For me, they say that like it might be slow, but things I've ordered from there have come within the week.
That's crazy. I ordered some like bandanas to make masks in April, and they haven't showed up yet. They said they might show up at the end of the month, but we'll see about that. Luckily, I got my hands on some medical masks beforehand, so it doesn't really matter. But still, it's like, hey man, I ordered those, and you're damn right I'm going to be wearing them. I'm just going to be that bandana guy in my house now.
Yeah,
just to
it's
justify.
not even for going out of the shops; it's just for wearing around the house.
Just wearing around, because I can't cut my frickin' hair anytime soon. The last time I did it, I almost really butchered it up, so I'm just gonna cover my frickin' hair now so no one has to see it.
I'm lucky my sister's a hairdresser and she works
Oh.
from home.
Oh, lucky you, man. I was even looking at the stuff online there where it's like, okay, you got the heated beard combs, and then you got, like, the level for your hair. Like, you put it here, and then, like, it's perfectly idiot-proof, so you can't fuck it up. And I'm like, I think I might need that. I'm really gonna need that. I'm really gonna need to learn to master some new skills during all this.
Yeah, well, you've got the time, so
Yeah, I guess so, man. But beyond that, how's your week been?
pretty good, pretty good. I've been powering through some old comic reviews I've got. I've been
Nice.
playing a bunch of video games. I just recently bought Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey
Oh,
because
sweet.
they were insanely cheap on the PlayStation Store.
I never finished Odyssey. I played or not Odyssey, Origins. I never finished Origins, but I kept meaning to go back to it because obviously we got that new Assassin's Creed Valhalla that actually looks fairly fun.
Yeah, well, it's being made by the same people that made Origins. And Origins, out of Origins and Odyssey, I prefer Origins just because
That's what I
the
heard.
world
Yeah.
feels slightly smaller, but like populated more. There's all heaps of
Yeah,
stuff to do, whereas in Odyssey, it's just way too big.
Definitely. Thank you, Ultimate Dark Slayer, there for the cheers. Most appreciated. Again, my gaming has dropped off too. It's because I'm staying up stupid late. My sleep schedule has been destroyed. Like, the sun has been rising the last couple of weeks where I've been falling asleep. I sleep until noon, so I haven't been able to get my time in on Animal Crossing. I still never beat RE2 Remake, even though I had actually made it fairly far into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, again, I keep meaning to go back to it, but I'm just like, the world's scary enough. I don't need to be reminded of a quarantine plague in a video game. This was a poor choice.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of people say the opposite, whereas like since there's this big pandemic, they've been going back playing through like the Resident Evil games, Days Gone, Last of Us games that are like have a pandemic in them.
I guess because it's a thing you can handle, huh? It's a thing we can all defeat, unlike in this real world one where we can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I'm looking right now. Is Assassin's Creed Odyssey still on sale? Because I've played all of them, and that's the only one I haven't played. If it's on sale, I will probably buy
I know
it.
for me it was that I got the gold edition, which comes with Assassin's
Nice.
Creed 3 and Liberation Remastered as well.
Oh, cool.
So it's like really good bang for your buck.
Yeah, that is good. I never, I actually, yeah, I played a little of Liberation. Man, the Assassin's Creed series has been going on for so fucking long now. I'm trying to think. I'm like, yeah, I've played every one, right? I'm pretty sure I played every one.
I haven't played like one properly since Black Flag, and so like going back through like Origin stuff, it's like a completely different game.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. They completely pivoted with that franchise. What's the one that's not Black Flag? Rogue I still think is probably my favorite, the one where you get to play essentially as a Templar, although it takes to like the halfway point to actually get there. Rogue I enjoy because it's the one in the series that says actually the assassins aren't shit and we're going to explain why.
They kind of went a bit overboard, I think, with the whole. First, it was just assassins and Templars. Then there's like weird alien space people that came before Earth people, and now there's like weird shit in like these new games where you fight like Medusa, and there's Atlantis, and all this other stuff.
So magic was real. The thing that got me is that when like the Assassin's Creed game, when they dropped the whole Desmond framing device and went super fucking meta to where it's like, okay, well, how do we get into these games now? Well, you are a nameless, faceless employee of an Ubisoft-like company who hops in and plays these.
I think in Origins and Odyssey, you're the modern person you are is the same person as this woman named Layla. And I think Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are like a trilogy, or like a loose trilogy with her character, but she's barely in the fucking game.
Right, because I remember like Black Flag, Rogue, and I think another one all together make up like the evil Ubisoft trilogy, where at the end of it you find out that Ubisoft is actually modern day Templars, and I'm like, really? They cast themselves as the villains of the series? But are we really the villains? Because by the time you play Rogue, they do such a good job sympathizing the Templars. They're like, did these guys completely pivot? Now do they think the Templars are the good guys? But yeah, that's Assassin's Creed, everyone. I'm excited to play a Viking and do Viking shit. There's not near enough fun Viking games.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was Viking. I was sure we were going to get like a follow-up to like Odyssey or something. But it's cool like they're pivoting to something a bit more like in the Dark Ages and stuff.
I mean, I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that, you know, God of War was Viking-inspired and made, like, all the money. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that there's, like, 4 wildly popular Viking TV shows on right now.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely sure because, like, Marvel has made Thor so popular, we're going to be fighting Thor.
Oh, of course. Here's the thing that gets me. There's so many Viking shows on TV, and I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah.
And I literally don't even know where I'm like, okay, what's the good Viking show? What's the one I need to watch now? Is it Vikings? Is it The Last Kingdom? Is it Vinland Saga? I'm waiting for English for that. Which is the good one here? It feels like there's so many goddamn Viking shows.
Having only watched Vikings, I would say watch Vikings. That one's really good.
All right. I know that one's still going. And it's like, well, wait, aren't they going to run out of actual history to adapt soon enough?
It's still going, and it does something really interesting with the main character of the first season, which you don't really see coming. And they reframe the whole series, and it's actually gets really refreshing after a while, because you think it's going to be the same thing every season, but it isn't.
Huh. Interesting. Well, that's cool. I might check that out while I try and work my way through a ton of other shit. But yes, everyone, we are a comic book and entertainment show, and believe it or not, we actually have comic book and entertainment news.
We do.
All right, what do we got going on here this week? Let me check the thing that I put together. So, some interesting news coming out of DC Comics this week. Actually, not of new series that have been announced. Because of the quarantine and because of no new comics on the shelf. Actually, quite the opposite of series that are going to be coming to an end very soon.
In very strange ways. Or the first one we're going to talk about has been a long time coming since the writer has been building to it, but the other ones are just kind of out of left field a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. The first one, and probably the most impactful one, is that Joshua Williamson is going to be wrapping up his Flash run, after 100 issues, after the end of the Finish Line story arc, which in doing so means that he will be the last writer of the DC Rebirth era to actually hit 100 issues, to actually be on the book that long, and to actually, more importantly, finish the book on his own terms. He said that, this was always the ending he wanted, and he always wanted to finish it after 100.
And I'm glad he got that. Yeah, well, in saying that, it looks like DC editorial doesn't particularly care about the Flash book. Like, they just allow him to just really do anything. I've never read an issue that felt like this felt like it had the hands of DC editorial on it. Never felt that way.
I mean, the Flash book in general, and especially Williamson's run, is like, wow, you flew under the radar for 100 issues. They give so little of a shit about the Flash. You were basically free to do some awesome transcendent work, weren't you?
And that's the thing. As I've said previous times on the show, the book has had huge impacts on the DC universe, but just it goes largely unnoticed by other writers and other books. Like, no one ever mentions the stuff's like, hey, remember when the Flash broke Speed Force, so now time travel cannot exist anymore? Remember, how Reverse Flash is tied in intrinsically with the Dr. Manhattan and all of that? None of that's mentioned.
Nope. Again, sometimes writers like Scott Snyder would throw him a bone and be like, okay, hey, we'll use, some of your different forces you've created here in this series, but that's about it.
That was a shame that no one ever actually used those forces, because they were really damn cool.
Yeah, and then we'll also use Wally West, but we won't do anything good with him. And in fact, hey, Josh, you will have to clean up the messes we make with this character all the goddamn time.
And he does a very good job of that.
Again, time and time again, it's like, why didn't you just let Joshua Williamson write the Wally stuff? He clearly seemed to care, and he clearly seemed to be, doing something with the Flash family. Yeah, but fuck him, that's why.
Well, apparently this Finish Line story and the stuff before it, like the Legion of Zoom and all of that, will feature Wally as well.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I hope they finally work it together. I mean, shit, too. Williamson did so much good work that the Flash television show ended up picking up on stuff he was laying down for their last season because they had already used everything else. Oh, we'll have some of that black hole. We'll have some of this Godspeed. We'll have some of this blood work. Yes, please.
Yeah, all this stuff that he wrote was starting to come into the TV show. So I'm intrigued to see, what if this new stuff, like those forces and everything, they're prime for TV, aren't they?
They really are.
There's 4 of them. You can get a whole season of them. Different people have them, sort of thing.
Yeah, no
it's
doubt.
just made for TV. So I imagine that will be a season coming up.
That would be really cool. And in fact, speaking of the CW shows, be sure to stick around near the tail end of the show, because Matt and I will give our thoughts on the CW shows as they had their kind of finales this week, more like they ran out of footage and had to call it a finale, even though they clearly weren't. Which, man, that's got to be rough for them. But yeah, so Williamson wrapping up his run. Maybe I'll actually finish it now.
Perfect time, and again, it's an amazing series of issues. They're so damn good.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me. Again, you've said nothing but good things about it, and I definitely want to check in on it. Now, another series that's going to be coming to an end from DC, and this one, people may be asking, why? And some people might be raising some eyebrows, but I think we have some good reasons as to why, and that is Harley Quinn. Her solo series that has been going for a very long time is going to be wrapping up as of issue 75.
Yeah, I definitely said when I saw this, I'm like, what? They're wrapping up Harley Quinn? They're moneymaker?
Though I do believe this is her second run. I think they restarted from number 1 after the Palmiotti Connor years. I could be wrong,
no,
but
I think
do
they
believe.
Did. I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay, so this is technically her second solo series that is coming to an end, although it's pretty much been going nonstop since New 52 and DCU and everything. But yeah, this one's coming to a close, and I'm sure everyone's wondering, but why? Why would you be ending this book now? Her show is doing good. She's probably never been more popular than she has been right now. And the answer is, as it always is in situations like this, we could keep going, and it could hit 100 issues, or we could end it, get rid of this creative team and bring back a new creative team with issue 1 to hopefully try and get more people in and to hopefully sell some more variant covers. And you don't have to take my word for it. Jimmy Palmiotti, who doesn't currently work for DC, went to the internet and basically said that apropos of nothing. What is he talking about? I don't know. He's talking about this.
Yeah, it's really sad that they're doing that at DC. They've done it for like heaps of fucking books. Like, just restart it to get that number 1 that we can put 40 variants on it, and because it's Harley Quinn, it will have 40 variants.
Oh yeah. And the fact that he said that so bitterly made me think, I'm like, did they do that to you with the second run? Are they like, hey, Jimmy, Amanda, you guys are doing great. You've really helped Harley Quinn become the 4th pillar of DC. Also, you're off the book and we're starting with number 1, get out.
Yeah, get out. Just go back and write your Wonder Woman digital first comics.
Yeah, which that's like the last thing they've done for DC in a while. They haven't been back on any new projects, which is surprising. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I mean, hell, knowing DC and how they work sometimes, I would not be shocked at all if they're like, okay, reboot the Harley Quinn book, either bring it into continuity or keep it out of continuity, because that's kind of what they've been doing and it's worked well for them. But they're like, okay, make it like the TV show now, because the TV show is so popular.
Honestly, I want them to go a completely different way and just make her a villain again. Just do something different with her.
But Matt, we can't sell a villain, and that's what we have Punchline for.
Oh yes, Punchline. She hasn't even debuted yet, and I'm already tired of that character.
I know, that's the weirdest thing. It's like this character technically hasn't even really shown up yet in anything because of the quarantine and books going up, but they keep talking about her, and she keeps showing up in art and everything. And yeah, it's like, how can I be pre-sick of a character?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I would not be shocked if they try and pivot and make the Harley Quinn book, the new number 1, more like the show, which, hey, I'm fine with that if they do. Again, I like the show. Here's hoping it's as funny and as, character-driven.
Yeah, so, sure. I still think they should do something different with the character, change up something, so it's not... so because it feels like the last 2 series, like, they were basically the same series, more or less.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like, Harley Quinn has a lot of the same problem as Deadpool, and that is like, okay, I've had just enough now. You were fun, that was good, but you're right, it's, a joke gets boring after a while and loses its impact when you hear it over and over again.
Even with Deadpool, they kind of changed things up post Secret Empire, when he had that fantastic run. Where he realized that he like killed Coulson and everything, and was going on like this big quest to like sort of redeem himself. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff you could do with Harley. You could definitely take her in that direction. Then again, the Harley book has always been so strange, too, because it's not really in continuity. So they can, A, get away with more, and B, do more funny stuff, like when Harley Quinn just straight up made fun of You're the Villain and what a stupid idea it was.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff's pretty great. And I wonder, would they want to keep doing stuff like that, or they want to be like, okay, this is a Harley book that's actually in continuity now?
Yeah, just give it to Mark Russell. He'll do something really fun with it.
You know what? Actually, yeah, that would totally make me want to read, because he is genuinely one of the funniest guys writing comics right now.
And I'm fairly certain he did that You're the Villain parody as well.
Did he actually? Okay,
see if he did, yeah.
See, if he started writing that book, I would be super, super into that one. Actually, Mark Russell wrote a Batman story for those digital books. Like, that last
awesome.
one. Yeah, that last one wasn't Michael Gray. That last one was actually him. And it was really funny and also very pointedly topical. And I'm like, yep, this is totally the dude who wrote Billionaire Island, because it's the same basic idea.
Yep.
And the third book that got the axe, although this one got the axe differently than how all the other books got the axe, this week over at DC, is The Terrifics, which will be canceled, and its final 3 issues will be shoved onto digital.
Yeah, and I put Supergirl there because that's happening. The final issue of Supergirl is going digital. The final issue in this whole series, and I don't collect these issues physically, but that really, really pissed me off.
This is how little
a complete set.
Yeah, for Terrifics, that makes sense. Terrifics, it's kind of a miracle that it even, slumped along as it did after they killed all those other Dark Universe books, but Supergirl, it's like, come on, again, like you said, for even just for collector's sake, put out the last goddamn issue in physical, and that for DC to be like, no, we care so little about Supergirl, she doesn't even get a final physical issue.
Yeah, that's really sad. But in saying that, I'm surprised it actually lasted this long. I know her books don't particularly really do very well. It probably did as well as it did because of the TV show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did.
Yeah, that Supergirl book is super fucking cursed. That's one of those books where I would really hate to have to write it, because they have done everything with her. They made her a Red Lantern. They, brought her father back. They made it like the TV show and, brought in the DEO and Mr. Skullface and everything, and none of it ever ticked. They made her a cosmic character and had her fight Rogol Zar and try and unravel that mystery, and again, just none of it took. No one cared.
They got it. I've always had this pitch for Supergirl, and they need to, because they've tied her in recent years to Hawkman's history, because she learnt from a previous Hawkman about archaeology and everything. That was her teacher on Krypton. You do that with her. You make her like Space Indiana Jones, and she goes off and like looks up like ancient civilizations, Kryptonian outposts all over the place. Maybe teams with Hawkman to go and do all this sort of shit.
So what if Dr. Aphra was bulletproof?
Basically, yeah.
I mean, works for her. Why can't it work for Supergirl? But yeah, the Terrifics, I have nothing really to say about the Terrifics. I mean, clearly it found an audience, even though it was so clearly what it was always meant to be, and that is like, hey, let's just do Fantastic Four in the DC universe and see if anyone notices.
Yeah, and they did it at a time where the Fantastic Four weren't around, and then after, like, I think 5 issues, they're like, Fantastic Four are back. What do we do?
Yeah, pretty much. Again, it outlasted all those other Dark Universe books because it was the only book that didn't need the Dark Universe to get started. It could have just been a book anyway on its own, because these are characters people like anyway.
That's the thing. I think the book sold as well as it did because of Mr. Terrific, because people have known him from Arrow and be like, hey, that guy has a book. I'm going to read it.
And, Plastic Man.
Oh, yeah, but come on. How many fans does Plastic Man have in, like, the general audience comic book community?
Hey, he got a mini at some point, which the problem with the mini is that it didn't line up with this or anything else, but yes. But yeah, so there you go. There's some more books getting the axe. Now, while Harley and, Flash will certainly be coming back with number ones, and Supergirl will probably be coming back with a new number one at some point, don't be shocked if you don't see the Terrifics again for a while.
Yeah, or if you do, they'll be, like, in the background of another book, like a guest appearance or something.
Yeah, really, where, again, they'll be playing the same part of, like, oh, look, what if the Fantastic Four existed in the DC universe? Yeah, the chat saying people like Elongated Man more now anyway. They do, even though the Elongated Man on TV acts like Plastic Man from the comics, and I've made that joke before that they took the name but not the personality.
He even looks like Plastic Man.
He even looks like Eel O'Brien. I wonder if that was, again, at some point in the writing phase, they're like, nah, just change the names. Yeah,
just change it, just so we can have Sue Dibney be Black Widow.
Which, I'm fine with that, too. But yeah, man, she so is. We'll talk about that later, but she 100% is. All right, what else we got coming down here? Ooh, so more Star Wars news. We have just been inundated with Star Wars news, Matt. We just can't get away from it. And apparently, the internet was abuzz earlier this week because there may very well be an Ahsoka Tano show in development at Disney+. They didn't say whether or not this would be live action or animated. I can only assume it's going to be live action, because why else would you make a big deal about her being in The Mandalorian if you weren't going to spin it off into something?
I could see it being live action, but also I feel like this would be the follow-up to Rebels, which would make sense for it to be animated, because it would carry over those characters of Ezra and Sabine and all of that.
That would be cool, where it's like, hey, it's the Clone Wars follow-up, it's the, Rebels follow-up, we just call it the Ahsoka Tano show. Yeah, that... I would be totally cool with that if they did. And you're probably wondering, where are you getting this information from? Well, Matt, I got it from one of our favorite sources, and that is some dude's Patreon, apparently, that everyone just ran with because it was a slow news week.
One of those scoopers Patreon. Like, when all of this started, they began to, like, complain because people weren't paying them, because people, it's a pandemic, and those people don't actually have any other translatable skills.
Yeah, but my scoops, though. My scoops. I got two scoops of raisins. Where do I put it, Matt?
Yeah, I always question, like, how do they have scoops when, like, literally all of Hollywood is shut down now?
How indeed? Well, you know, my sister's brother's mistress told me. But wait, wouldn't your sister's brother be your brother too? Shut up. Matt, we just got to start making shit up and hiding it behind our Patreon. What's the craziest thing you can think of that we can put behind Patreon?
Oof. I can think of some pretty crazy stuff, but I'm not going to tell anyone until you pay $1 a month.
See, you figured it out. That's how the game is played. Did you hear Mel Gibson is going to be the Joker in the new The Batman? Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Batman that's getting touted as darker than any other Batman because that's
darker.
That's the thing now to say about your movie.
I love that that's the go-to. You know, he's darker and he's unsanitized. I'm like, probably not a good thing right now, though, in this era of viruses. Batman should probably sanitize a little.
Yeah, wash your ass, Batman.
That's just Batman just yelling on the street corner, I will not wash my hands. I will not wear a mask. Well, I'll wear this mask, but not the one that covers my mouth. I will ride around town in my paramilitary vehicle. You can't tell me what to do. And he's just doing donuts. It's him in the graveyard just doing donuts in his bat bike on his parents' grave. You're dead. You can't tell me what to do. I live my way.
That's what they meant by it being so dark and everything. Bruce is the one who kills his parents.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Like, how can you make Batman's story any darker? It's already pretty dark. Yeah, unless you put stupid shit in there like that. Like, he killed his own parents.
Yeah, he begins listening to Elon Musk.
I don't know. I think this guy makes some good points. Hey, let me look at his family history. Whoa, his family history's even darker and more fucked up than mine. Oh, no. Batman chose a wrong role model.
Is Batman Duff Man now?
Yeah, I was going to say, the longer I do Batman, he just becomes Duff Man. Oh, no. Scarecrow's poisoned the reservoir again. What am I going to do, Robin? We're going to jam these Duffs, and then we're going to go fight crime. Batman also drinks and drives in this new universe, too. That's also how he's darker and more. What are some... Ooh, Batman is so dark and so unsanitized in this new universe, he doesn't return his shopping carts after he shops.
He just leaves it in the parking lot.
He just leaves it like an asshole. Did you? I'm sure you saw that post that was making the rounds there, where it's like whether or not you take your shopping cart back is the ultimate, like, you know, humanity exam, because you can't get in trouble for it. It's not technically wrong, but if you don't do it, you're an asshole. And it's true. I've always felt that way. I've been with people who are like, "Well, just jump your cart there, Joel. We got to go." And I'm like, "No, you got to take the cart back. It's what it's expected of us. You got to do it. It's a social contract."
I like that. Lots around here in my area, they have the ones where you've got to put like the coin in, and so it's like an incentive to take it back. It's like, do you want your money back?
Yeah, they do that here in Canada, which I only discovered after reading that article, that apparently the coin system is a lot less used in the States.
Okay.
That's like much rarer, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. Because, yeah, they always do that here, the coin system. I don't use the coin because I rarely ever have a dollar coin to put in there.
Yeah, we get, like, you can buy, like, little disc things from, like, the supermarkets that you can put into them.
Oh, that's clever. Get a little slug in there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I worked retail, so I want to make workers' lives a little hard. Yeah, exactly. Don't make it harder if you don't have to. Exactly. It's just trying to help. But especially now, when, you know, friggin' people who work in shops and everything have it hard enough as it is. Don't be the cart guy.
No, don't be.
I mean, if anything, be Bubbles and take those carts and fix the wheels and then sell them back.
Con more money out of them.
That's what you gotta do. That's the only way. Saying other ways you can make Batman unsanitized. Batman kidnaps Dick Grayson at age 12 because he's hardcore. He just sees Dick Grayson skateboarding. It's like, I want that child, and he just pulls him into the Batmobile. Did you see that article too? People were losing their mind because, you know, I guess Pattinson made some off-the-cuff comment to being like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to work out to be Batman." I mean, naturally he is, and he does.
It was
still
an obvious joke. Yeah. What's his name? What's that fucking guy's name? Runs that pop culture fucking thing. John Campier, he had a fucking meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
It was so
Lots-
fucking hilarious.
Lots of people did. It was funny too to see all the guys in like the bodybuilding community too, like big muscly dudes crying their eyes out. And he said he wasn't gonna work out and he wasn't gonna get sick gains, bro. Batman needs sick gains, bro. No!
Where did this idea that Batman has to be this lumbering tank come from? He's a ninja. He literally is trained as a ninja.
Yeah, he should be svelte. He should be, able to stealth, and you can't stealth when you're a giant meat mountain.
Yeah, God damn it.
It's like they freaking want Braun Strowman to be Batman, just a big shouty man.
Just him trying to stealth around.
Batman, bro.
Just fridge hiding in the darkness, trying to like take out thugs.
Yeah, really. Hey, do you guys hear something? Nah, just keep loading the coke into the trunk. Nah, I don't hear nothing. Batman smash.
There you go. As Man of Salt said, Brock Lesnar, Batman. He's all neck.
There you go. Suplex City, bitch. Just all the criminals get suplexed over and over. God, Batman's really sweaty in this movie, isn't he?
How can you tell? Well, he's sweating through the suit.
Through the costume. Oh, man. Frickin' Paul Heyman would need to be Robin. My name is Robin, the Boy Wonder, and my client, Batman, the Dark Knight, will take on all comers tonight in Gotham. Amazing. That's what I want. Just a shouty man shouting things. So the Ahsoka show, that should be interesting. That's how we started this conversation. There's definitely places to go with the character. People are interested, and if it does end up being a live action show, it would make a lot of sense that she show up for an episode of The Mandalorian, then they spin her off into something.
Yeah, I guarantee you that's what her appearance in Mandalorian will be. It'll be like, hey, you like this character? You remember this character? Well, got some news for you.
Yeah, follow her into a new series, which I wonder, will that be, dealing with the Darksaber and all the other Clone Wars stuff that's been left around? That way, the Mandalorian can be free to kind of do its own shit with the child and everything.
Well, I feel like her show will be it has to be like the end of Rebels, because that was around the same time as Mandalorian, with her and Sabine heading off into the unknown region. So it has to be them going off on an adventure, probably maybe dealing with the Darksaber. Maybe she finds out about it in the Mandalorian. Potentially.
Also, too, no, I guess he couldn't at that point. But I was gonna say, could. No, that's right, because he's dead by that point. I was going to say, could Maul make a cameo in any of these? But no, I think he's dead by that point.
I mean, you could make a cameo him as like he's not a ghost, but like a memory of Ahsoka, like a nightmare sort of thing. You could do something like that.
Have a flashback, or just say, hey, who got his sick as hell red double-sided lightsaber?
No Sith Lord ghosts, because that actually isn't a thing canon. Wise.
It's true.
Sith Lords can't turn into Force ghosts.
The one thing that's actually stayed consistent across all these different continuities, which is hard to believe, right? That's the one thing that stays.
And I'm glad it has.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Where it's like, no, you must be one with the light side of the Force. You must be good to achieve, this kind of sort of immortality, and that it's not for bad people.
It makes sense, man. It's the whole thing that Palpatine was after, and all he had to do is follow the light side.
Huh, wow, I never thought of that. You're right. He was chasing immortality and eternal youth the whole time, but if he just learned that one thing,
yeah.
Wow. But I got to shoot lightning out of my fingers, though.
Base lightning.
Fair trade, motherfucker. Can you shoot lightning? Didn't think so. I keep waiting, and again, you'll all owe me a Coke if this turns out to be true. In that High Republic series that they got coming out, they keep talking about this idea of like different Jedi houses and everything. And I'm like, oh, that sounds very like Game of Thrones. But then I thought about it a little harder, and then I'm like, oh, is this going to be like different schools of kung fu? So like different Force houses have different abilities. So are we going to see like who's the house that invented the mind trick, and who's the house that invented the Force lightning and everything? And is that how they're going to explain why some Jedi can do some tricks and some can't?
Yeah, it'll probably also incorporate like stuff that we've seen in like games where like, oh, this house is like the Jedi Guardian, and this house is like the Sentinel or the Sage and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which I don't hate hate that idea at all. In fact, I think it makes a lot of sense and always kind of existed in my head canon anyway, where it's like, well, clearly there's people who learn stuff that other people can't. That's why it was so rare for Yoda and all of them to learn the Force Ghost technique in the first place, and that they made a big deal about it.
It'd also be really cool as well to see like that also develop into, because like there's also schools and like houses of like lightsaber forms, and like each lightsaber form is different from the other because they tap into the Force different ways and stuff like that.
What's the one that Obi-Wan is a master of? It's the defensive countering one.
Sorasu.
Yeah, that one. That's a good.
Yeah, I like Mace Windu's. I can't remember what it's called, but it allows him to see like the shatter points of things and like the weaknesses in things.
He's basically Karnak.
Yeah.
His is also the school of delicious grape flavor. Only in this school must you come to get the delicious grape flavors. Everywhere else is blue raspberry and green mint. But only the dark side are the masters of cherry flavor. Only on the dark side do you get cherry. Which, I love me some cherry, which I'm not going to lie, if that was my options, I'm like, sorry, guys, fucking cherry.
That's the thing, they say it's cherry, but you get it, and it's like some, like, shitty, like Forks cherry or strawberry flavor.
Oh,
that's like
I hate that, too, like, when candies lie to you like that, where it's like, ooh, this is green, you know, I bet this is going to be, like, a delicious lime. Oh, it's apple, what? That's not true. Ooh, a white one. I wonder what this is. Ah, coconut. Fuck off.
Yeah, coconut, the worst.
Yeah. What flavor is Darksaber? Oh, well, Darksaber is clearly black licorice.
Yes.
The most foul of all flavors. Truly, you must be an evil person. only the heart.
It's that licorice that's like salted.
Oh, salted black licorice. Yeah. You must be the hardest of hardcores to put that one out. Clearly, when Pre Vizsla forged that in the fires, it was, you know, as a testament, as a middle finger against God itself. Fuck you. Oh, the red saber is Dayquil flavored. Oh no, oh no. That's the ultimate pulling the rug out from under you. It tastes like cough syrup. Oh, that's too evil, Zeke.
And don't have too much of it. You'll get addicted.
Yeah, codeine. Papa loves codeine. Give me the codeine. Man, if I went there and that was the flavor, that's the ultimate. And like, I don't want to play anymore. It's Dayquil. I'm so done. This Dayquil has ruined everything. Speaking of things that were ruined with things that might come back anyway, Swamp Thing is apparently going to be airing on the CW soon. Yeah, remember that show that they pumped a bunch of time and money in and then filled out the wrong paperwork so they wouldn't get a tax return for doing it, so they said, fuck it, we're canceling the whole thing?
Yeah. And with this news, I think a lot of people don't realize that they're just sharing the first season. Like, they're airing the first... They're not, like, making a new season or anything.
No.
They're just doing the first season, which I don't think a lot of people know. So, yeah. It's just re-airing stuff that we've already seen.
Which, again, I didn't watch anything after episode 1, because after episode 1 they said it was canceled, so I'm like, well, why should I continue to watch this then? Will they be able to air this on regular old television, or are they going to need to edit it and make some changes? Are there, like, some brutal murders and swearing?
There is, but I was also going to say, they've done the same thing with Stargirl. Out of the first 2 episodes, at least 10 minutes have been cut for the CW when it airs the next day, just because of how network TV is different than putting it onto a streaming service. There's ad breaks and cutoffs and stuff. So I can definitely see this show getting heavily censored.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is if you want to watch the real version of any of these shows, you're not going to be seeing it on the CW.
No, or at least not for now, no.
Yeah. Which, to me, then, I'm like, why would you even bother? But then they're like, we're fucking starved for content, can't you tell? Because we can't go out and film anything new.
No, yeah.
We have to take what we can get, even if we have to edit it down. So guess what, Swampy, you're in.
Yeah, and so Swamp Thing was really damn good. But yeah, as you said, like, I watched the whole season, but I was like, why am I doing this? We know we're not going to get a second season, and it's even worse because they end it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, I guess the ultimate hope and the ultimate kind of like navel-gazing dream is that if it does particularly well and, shores up new interest, maybe CW will want to bring it back in some capacity. But granted, if they did, they'd be bringing it back on a CW budget, which means damn near non-existent budget, so it would even be the same show, probably not.
Yeah. Well, you'd hope as well that, like, they'd at least have, like, the Swamp Thing costumes and stuff, and the Floronic Man costumes, so...
No, we burned them.
Yeah, we had to sell them for money.
We burned them to warm our hands after we filed the wrong tax paperwork. It was the only way.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it would be cool to see them come back, and I think a lot of people as well who didn't see this show and saw his brief glimpse in Crisis on Infinite Earths will be like, hey, I know this character.
Guy.
Yeah.
At the very least, and this is what we can hope for, maybe again, if they saved the costume, maybe Swamp Thing can show up in other shit like Constantine showed up in shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be totally fine with that, to see this Swamp Thing just show up in other shows for a cameo. It's like, get Derek Mears in here, get him dressed up.
I would love for him to be in Legends, just like come in and just because he's all serious and like kind of depressed because he's Swamp Thing, just be like a complete like opposite to everyone else on the team.
He'd be a really funny foil, yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He'd probably really hate Mick. He's like, get the fuck away with me, get away from me with that fire. Fire bad, fire very bad. Then they'd probably make a pot joke, be like, "Hey man, let's smoke it up with Swamp Thing."
Yeah, he'll be able to make them all like pot or something. Or no, they'll do that whole story that Alan Moore did with Superman, where he eats like the super peyote.
Yes, and then they all get high as fuck with Swamp Thing, and they never leave the ship. And it's all very funny, and Swamp Thing's like, oh, sorry, I'm sick. When I get a cold, I excrete, like psychedelic LSD shit. Sorry about that. Yeah, you guys were all high as fuck for 40 minutes, and it was great. I mean, for the audience, not for me, but it was pretty great.
Yeah, hey, if they could do a whole episode about a frat house and make it fun.
Yeah. If they could do a whole episode about Son of Sam's dog and they never leave the ship. That's pretty good. Man, Legends of Tomorrow just endlessly surprises me with shit they do. And in fact, actually, let's move that conversation over there, because Flash and Legends of Tomorrow kind of finished this week. And yeah, Legends of Tomorrow, for their finale, not finale, they did a wonderful tribute to the frat movie and to the college movie that was just a laugh riot for, like, again, its entire runtime.
Yeah, and it was made even better by the fact that... we had Nate just be like your quintessential frat bro the whole episode.
Oh yes. Which again, it's like, dude, you're a doctor. You're a freaking doctor of history. Nah, bro, shotgun Nate. On both, I include multitudes. Also, good use of a villain too, because obviously they're doing all the stuff with the Fates and the Loom and everything. To have Dionysus be the villain, not villain, like he wasn't bad. He just wanted to keep doing what he was doing. He was more selfish than evil.
Yeah, it was real refreshing after having like a couple of episodes there where we actually had like an evil villain, to actually have someone that's like, nah, bro, I just I want to shotgun a beer and do keg stands.
I want to party forever. I am the Greek god of revelry, and here in college, I never have to grow up and move on, because kids will always be partying from now to forever. Them actually doing some pretty interesting shit with Astra, too. Like, she's a very begrudging member of the team, basically like Constantine was when he started. Like, oh, I'm too dark and serious for you people.
Yeah, and she started, this episode was really when she started to sort of come around to the team and realize that, oh, their way of working actually works.
I like, too, that it's Charlie who's the one who brings her in, too, because it's like, yeah, Charlie was a punk when all of this started, and she didn't really get along with them and their rules, so it's fun to see her be the one who is kind of her doorway into the Legends way of doing things. And also, too, hey, way to fucking pass the Bechdel test all over the goddamn place with these characters, where it's like, I was raised in hell, and, yeah, but I was, one of these sisters of fate and everything. I'm like, damn, this is good. They're having, like, a real intense conversation and never once mentioning their relationships. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to actually have characters talk.
Yeah,
not just talk in, like just, like, PR speak.
Yeah, and trailer snippets like, wow, this is funny, surprisingly deep in terms of characters. I am about this. I am digging on all of this, and obviously, it's leading into the bigger finale there of like, okay, will Astra betray them? Will they get all the loom pieces together now that they've gotten to be immortal for a day, and where all that's going?
Yeah, and I think Legends was the only show that actually finished up its season. Like, it was shot all before Crisis even started, so we're going to actually get an actual ending to that season. But as well as probably my favorite plot throughout this whole season has been Mick and his daughter's relationship. It's been so damn good.
It really has, and just like, shit, did you ever think that he would be a character that they would give so much development to, and that you would actually come to like him so much, and to give him such like a realistic and relatable problem of, this daughter that he never spent any time with, and him learning a real lesson in this too, where it's like, well, yeah, I used the time machine to try and make your life better. No, I didn't want that. I just wanted you to hang out with me for a while. Oh.
I think it was the last episode where he shows his daughter his little, he's a fucking dragon. He has like this like vault full of treasure hoard, and of course his daughter immediately wants to like invest it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's like, what? It's like, you mean you don't put this in a bank? No, I can't trust banks. They get robbed. And I'm just like, yeah, that tracks for this character. And it's like, also, you made all this money from stealing from history, and also, aren't you like an erotic novelist, too? Didn't you make a bunch of money off that, too, and you're just dumping it in a room?
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
He's wonderful. That whole storyline is wonderful. I think that's great. As the chat keeps telling us, yes, we did hear about that Superman news. In fact, Matt, do you want to take point on this? Because you actually know more about this than me.
Yeah, no. So Superman and Lois is going to be starting up in January, which is really cool. It's a great way to start the year, the new year. A little bit of hope.
Wow, yeah, we need it now. It's in short supply, some might say.
We got a description of it. It was a very, very, very detailed description of and it was an official description of the first episode, I imagine, where it just talks about how they're moving back to Smallville to like focus on the family, because they got two kids now, Jonathan and Jordan.
Very much like the Tomasi run,
who are starting to maybe show up their powers, maybe not. Maybe one is, maybe one isn't. Sam Lane gets involved when a threat threatens Earth, and Superman needs Superman is seemingly working with Sam Lane, which is very interesting and very different from their actual comic relationship. Well, it was until Sam Lane died, and then because near the end they sort of like patched things up.
I forgot that he was still dead. Thanks, Bendis.
Hey, it's the most interesting thing he's done in a while.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it all sounds really cool. And next year as well, we're getting the crossover for next year is Superman and Batwoman, and I have to assume that it's going to be about a search for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I guess so, because they know each other, and it's time for Superman to take an interest in this.
Yeah, and as well, I think the crossover was originally going to be Supergirl and Batwoman, but because Supergirl's actress Melissa Benoist is pregnant, they've actually had to push the next season of Supergirl back to mid next year.
Oh, wow. No, they should do it anyway with her pregnant and just have to keep concocting reasons why she's always being filmed from the waist up.
She ate too many fucking dumplings or something.
Or something like that. They got to keep explaining, why.
New Kryptonian, like, new kryptonite, like.
Yeah, it's a new power you haven't seen before. It's the power to only be shot from the neck down. She's always behind a desk or always wearing a blanket or something to hide the fact that she's pregnant. I'd be all. People are always just standing in front of her. Oh, hey, thanks, Sophia Bella, there for following. Always appreciated.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm very interested in this show. This sounds like a hell of a pitch. It sounds like they've really thought about it. And also, too, what I like about it? It sounds very different than all the other CW shows.
Absolutely. And I have to imagine this is going to become one of their flagship shows. It's the Superman TV show. I think as well they're partnering, like when it begins to air, they're partnering it with Flash on Tuesdays. It's going to be Flash and then this.
Smart.
So yeah, hopefully we get a Flash crossover as well.
Yeah, I would really like that too, especially because they kind of hit it off in the crossover.
Maybe Lois can come over into Flash and tell Iris, like, no, this is how you do investigative journalism.
That's a good crossover. I mean, well, Iris has got to make it out of the mirror first, but
Yeah.
Man, that Flash episode was a hell of a thing where characters just forgot really important things.
It really was an episode where it's like, look, we couldn't film the last couple of episodes because of this coronavirus.
We just got to make it work.
So this is it. This is
Man,
it.
the bit where Barry's like, don't worry, Carver, I'll get you into, witness protection so you'll help us. Oh no, the commissioner of police was a mirror double. I knew this. Why did I do this when I knew the fuck?
Yeah,
Boy.
Well, as I said but just before the episode, I was like, really? Is the Flash finale? Like, nothing actually really happened this season. Like, I was like thinking back, like, what happened? I'm like, yeah, Mirrorverse, and then Bloodwork was in it for like a minute.
The first half.
It. Like,
and then you had Black Hole and the Dibneys and all those light assassins who actually, I really liked when all the light assassins came back and fought everyone who wasn't Barry's.
I liked the light assassins.
They were fun. They were good stuff. I do like the editor was having a lot of fun cutting that fight scene, or for all I know, had to cut it that way because they weren't able to film it the way they wanted. Where it's like, ooh, let's do some comic cuts that actually look like they're fighting in panel, and I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, that was absolutely that they had to get creative for once.
Yeah, where it's like we could just film this fight scene the way we normally do, or we could get creative. Also, too, where it's like, why did Grant Gustin disappear for a huge chunk of this fight? Because he's the star, and we have to keep him safe.
Also, I think it was the last week's episode as well, where Flash fought Godspeed, and how it was mostly like CGI. I'm like, stuff that cannot be done from home. It was good. I actually liked that fight. I thought it was pretty good. It was better than their usual, like, just stand there and punch each other.
And hope for the best, yeah. Mirror Master or Mirror Mistress, I gotta say, I quite enjoy her as a villain, and I wonder where they're gonna... she basically won in this final thing. She got what she wanted and then even took control of her company again, and I'm like, oh, shit, well, what's she gonna do next?
That was interesting, and I wouldn't mind if they'd ended the season like that, but like, just because we know that there's 3 other episodes, that's not how the season's gonna end.
No, of course not. Yeah, she's gonna have a thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm also fucking crazy, and I'm gonna pull the whole world into the mirror realm because reasons.
Yeah, not gonna like settle down. She's got her company now, do stuff. It's gonna turn everyone in Central City into a Mirrorverse copy or something.
Because up until now, she's been pretty damn sensible. I want out of the mirror. I want revenge on my shitbag husband, who's the head of a terrorist organization. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this is fair. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you're really doing wrong is you want to murder, which obviously Flash has to stop you because of that. But honestly, you're probably the most sympathetic, straightforward villain we've had in this show.
Yeah. I would like for that to actually continue next season, where she won basically, and the heroes can't really do anything about her except keep an eye on her, and throughout the season she like takes like over other companies or something and tries to like expand her reach or something. Right.
Also, too, I mean, shit, Eve McCullough already doing way more than Evan McCullough ever did in the comics as the second Mirror Master, so I mean, shit, if there was ever a character where it's like, hey, they should make the jump, Mirror Mistress is actually pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
My only complaint is that her costume wasn't orange and green.
Yeah, no, her costume felt rushed. Like they actually had like a costume getting made, but they couldn't make it in time.
It looked too much like Thinkers, actually, is what it looked like. That kind of like faux Matrix thing where it's like, no, the design is good, just make it very dark orange and green is all it has to be, and then it's like actually kind of perfect.
Who knows, we might get that in the next season.
Yeah, she's discovered there where it's like, ooh, I had all this free time on my hands. I decided I'm going to design this costume.
Yeah, I was locked away, so I had all this free time. I was in a lockdown of some type.
Another moment, too, of characters dropping the ball that made me had to actually, like, pause the show and be like, seriously? Where Carver's like, I need to get in witness protection to be safe from my mirror wife. Oh, no, I can't get in there. Tell you what, I have a secret safe room. I'll go there instead. Wait, you had a safe room? Then why are you going into witness if you had a safe room? No, it's totally fine. It's totally cool. There's no reflective surfaces here. but you have screens in front of you. If the power goes off in your screens, they become reflected, and that's exactly what happened. God, you're a genius, Carver. You're dumb as fuck.
Yeah, how did you get this company?
Yeah, you can't do anything. You are so dumb.
Yeah,
for real.
That was a writing thing where it's like, okay, we just got to somehow give this character an end, because I have a feeling that he was meant to go all the way until the end and be like probably the last one to, well, probably not even die.
You know how they could have gotten out of that, and they've done this trick in the comics too. Yo, your eyes, bro. Your eyes are reflective surfaces. She jumps out of your fucking eyes.
I was thinking that through the episode. I'm like, okay, she's coming through reflective surfaces. He's got eyes like that. But again, it's like, oh, that's like that'll be really gruesome as well as like time consuming CG wise.
Yeah, it's a hard one to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a trick they can always pull. Didn't they do that in Deceased just recently? Didn't he hop through someone's eyes because your eyes are reflective surfaces?
Oh, what did he do? He hopped through a mirror and like ripped someone in half. I can't remember who he ripped in half.
Yeah. But you know, it wasn't a bad finale, but you could tell they wanted more. I like that Sue Dibney is sticking around, and that they have also just like straight up decided that Sue Dibney, instead of being, you know, the sweet elderly Murder She Wrote character from the comics, now it's like, okay, now she's just Black Widow.
Yeah, she's a world-weary super spy person.
Yeah, all right, fair enough, whatever. You know, I'm actually okay with that, because as the CW shows have shown before, you can start them in one place, but give it some time, and then they'll eventually become their characters from the comics anyway. So, like, literally, if her and Ralph get together, like, you know, slow down and become the Murder She Wrote type characters from the books, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, we used to be this, like, cool, you know, wheeling and dealing couple committing crimes, getting in espionage. Ooh, now, you know, we have dinner by 8 and everything. We're picking out curtains. We just became the lamest married couple ever. I think that would actually be really fun and funny.
Yeah.
That they just become super lame. Where it's like, no, we had cool, you know, lives of hipness and intrigue, but, you know, now we're a lame married couple. Also, they wrote Killer Frost out of the show, yeah? So she's, like, not coming back. I know her and Cisco, that we kept saying for a while that, you know, they were on their way out, that they weren't re-signing their contracts.
Yeah, it was very weird, because she just kind of, like, disappeared. Like, her story, like, wrapped up really quickly.
You could tell they didn't finish filming that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because she's Killer Frost a bunch, then she's just not Killer Frost, and I'm like, oh, the makeup lady couldn't come in that day, huh?
Yeah. There's something missing here. A scene where Killer Frost gives back control to Caitlin or something.
Yeah, that got written right the fuck out. Also, the fact that Cisco never showed up the whole episode. It's like, where was Cisco? He was working on the artificial Speed Force, and so he just never came out for any of these things? Nope.
No, you remember the episode before it. They ended the episode with the biggest cock tease ever, and that was like, oh, we've got to go to Atlantis to get this fucking thing. And it's like, why would you do that? You're not going to Atlantis. Why would you tell us that? Why?
Right. Okay, I think I dozed off near the tail end of that, but yeah, is that how they've written him out now? It's like, okay, now you're not part of the show, but you can just come back whenever you want.
Yeah, he had to go to Atlantis to get, like, something to help with the Speed Force thing, and then, like, yeah, he just, like, didn't appear.
Right, and that's why we've moved up Allegra and everything, and okay, now you're going to be a recurring character with superpowers, and maybe we'll bring that other guy back who was also smart, and he'll be a recurring character.
Yeah, it also feels as well, with Wells' story, with how like Eobard was still somewhere in there. I feel like that this season was meant to end with them thinking they've finally gotten rid of Eobard, but he's actually been there the whole time, and he's been Wells again. I feel like that was where it was going.
The chat saying too, was the actress who plays Killer Frost, was she pregnant too? Because they were also filming her only from the neck down, and she like had a blanket on her on a couch for like 3 episodes in a row.
I thought she was pregnant like a while ago.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I love the ending too, where it's like, don't worry everyone, we've got reinforcements for this problem. It's Joe. Joe's back, everyone. I'm like, he was gone for 2 episodes. What can he bring to this?
Again, that was another thing where it's like, if it was more episodes and he had his own little arc well away in isolation, then it probably would have been a bit more impactful. But yeah.
He just shows up like, hey, everyone, I'm back. Well, what does Joe bring to this? I have a gun. Well, how's that gun going to work against a lady who can travel through mirrors? I'll shoot at the mirrors.
Oh, no, you've just made more mirrors.
Oh, shit. Truly, this is an amazing power. Who'da thunk? No, I agree. Joe is a great character, and I love Jesse L. Martin in general, but sometimes it is like, what can you bring to this Jesse L. Martin besides being cool?
Well, he had a bad rap this season because didn't he have that? He had like a medical issue where he had an accident or something, and they had to write him out of a bunch of episodes, and now this whole pandemic thing kind of like kiboshed his character's arc, and...
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Poor Joe. Joe deserved better.
What happened with, what's her name? Cecile. She just kind of disappeared as well, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, you don't even... You're like, oh, yeah, that character. That character that has, like, an insane superpower that never gets used.
No, I like Cecile. I know who Cecile is. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I guess she didn't do much, did she?
Yeah, and she has an insane superpower, and it never gets used.
A power that really should have helped this season, where I'm like, well, she's gonna be able to feel the mirror doubles, right? Nope.
That's
doesn't
what
work
I
that
thought
way.
Where it was headed. Like, she's going to be the one, as well as, like, Barry. Like, throughout the whole show, they keep telling us how Barry and Iris are meant to be with one another. It's fate. It's written in the stars. And Barry, like, didn't even realize that his wife had been changed into, like, a mirror monster.
Oops.
It was like, something's up. She's cooking pancakes good. I better investigate this, but doesn't until it's too late. My
favorite bit of the season, and I bet they had to fight to put this in here, because it's just like, okay, you know, he has this big fight with Mirror Iris, which is actually a pretty cool fight and everything, and then Mirror Iris is totally like, you didn't get it, you're a fucking dumbass and everything, and we totally fucked too. You fucked a mirror creature. How's that make you feel? That's gonna be awkward when real Iris comes back, like, oh, you know, I'm back. Oh, you know, you moved heaven and earth to try and find me, and you know, I tried to find you. You didn't fuck that mirror double, did you, Barry? Cecile hearing his mind. Nah, he totally did. Was she better than me?
I mean, she was better at everything. So, you know, by
that metric.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part. This is the best material Candace Patton has ever had as evil Mirror Iris, who's actually super competent, which means, like, oh, it was never actually her problem as an actress. It's just the writers always writ her shit until right now.
Yeah, and I will say this, it was because they got rid of that. It's because they got rid of all the investigative journalist stuff. They didn't know how to do that with her. No. Because they're like, well, how do we make it different from Lois Lane?
Exactly.
Because we actually have Lois Lane now getting a show, so, like, how do we make it different? We can't.
Yeah.
We'll just make her a mirror person.
Which, again, best material she's had this whole time.
Yeah.
It's almost like, can like just Mirror Iris stick around, and can like other Iris just stay in the mirror? like it has one of those moments where Barry's like, I don't know which one to shoot. And he just shoots real Iris. Don't tell anyone that I picked you, Mirror Iris. You are now upgraded to real Iris.
Sprinkle some mirror on that one.
There you go. I did it. I saved the day, everyone. It was me. I did good. The chat, yo, that mirror pussy, though. Apparently it's fire, all the kids are saying. And here's the thing, it's not even just Barry too, because Singh and his husband, which I love, they're like, oh, I'll be sure to call Singh's husband. Oh yeah, you mean the character that is often mentioned but never fucking seen?
Yeah, I think we've seen him once, I think.
Have we?
I think.
Man,
in like an
I feel
like just a throwaway scene.
I feel bad for that character who's not clued into any of the super shit, not clued into any of the Flash stuff, and that's just like, why did my husband disappear? Why has he been acting strange? Why is he, like, lighting warehouses on fire and shit?
And again, that poor... his arc again suffered from this whole, like, less of an episode, because I feel like they probably would have done something with the husband like they did with Barry and Iris.
Yeah, that poor motherfucker who doesn't know anything. Just that some poor dude just crying a horrible death because he doesn't understand mirror shit. But yeah, Flash could have been better, but it was all right. That fight scene of everyone together, I actually quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
What else did we have to talk about, Matt? I know you said maybe we should talk about some of the comics we've been reading because we haven't done that in a little bit.
We haven't, no.
Where would you like to start?
Let's have a look. Well, we were talking about Flash. I read the newest issue of Flash.
As did I. Unlike all these other DC digital books, Gail Simone actually started telling one continuous story.
Oh, I was actually talking about the actual Flash book.
See, I'm still reading the digital one because there's a low barrier to entry. But no, please tell me about the official one.
Barry has to team up with the Reverse Flash, and that's like much of the issue. He goes back to the day his mother died, and he has to witness his mother being killed again. So he can like talk with Eobard about teaming up, and Eobard is more than happy to help because it means Flash has to do something that he never wanted to do, which is team up with him, as well as Eobard getting kind of what he's always wanted, which is to team up with the Flash to save the multiverse.
Because he is ultimately the #1 Flash fanboy.
Yeah. And it also means because he might have to kill this new villain, Paradox, who's been traveling back through time, killing Flash at different points in time. Like in this issue, he goes back to the year of the villain and kills Flash and Captain Cold during their big fight in that.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's really cool. He's actually using using Godspeed as like a guinea pig to run on the cosmic treadmill to send him back through time to gather all this crisis energy.
That's cool. I like that concept, crisis energy.
Yeah, that's the thing with Flash. Whenever a Flash dies, the crisis energy is released, and he wants to take that crisis energy, and once he gets enough of it, he can remake the whole universe.
That's a very clever concept. Did you read the digital one?
I haven't read the most recent issue that came out like yesterday, day before.
Yeah, very recently. Again, Simone is telling one solid story, so this is Barry going to the dark future that is ruled over by Reverse Flash.
Yeah, I like the previous issue where he teams with Superfan the Atom.
That was a lot of fun, even better too, because it's the Ryan Choi version, the version that Gail Simone invented and loves so much, clearly.
Yeah.
It's great here. We get to see Speed Force City, the city that Eobard Thawne rules over, and everyone dresses like the Flash in this weird future. And the only reason that they're willing to follow Eobard Thawne and do what he tells them is that for 10 minutes every day, he gives a group of them access to the Speed Force for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So he's literally selling them speed so he can be the dictator of this place. He's got them all hooked on speed.
He's handing out those little baggies.
You gotta get a little taste is always free, but you want more, and it's never enough. And Barry's like, this is horrifying. It's even worse because Barry's like, no, but really, though, I would be like this, too, if they ever took away my speed. I'm actually super addicted to my own superpower as well.
Well, that's good that he's able to admit that.
Yeah. He meets a Shift again, who we actually find out Shift was, before she became like a time-traveling assassin, was actually like an apprentice of Eobard.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and she, grew, dejected with everything he was doing, and she says, I spent a lot of time in the present, and, I loved the art more than anything. Here in the future, everything is government propaganda, and it, all sucks so much like propaganda does, but, your timeline, it had, movies and television and comics, and they actually spend, a whole page talking about, the magic of comics.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really good, and then, Simone zeroes in on this thing that I never really thought of before, and that is, Eobard Thawne is actually the archetypical shitty fan who claims to love the Flash, yet never learned any actual lessons from any Flash story ever.
That's so true. That is so true.
Yeah, where he's like, I love Flash, and no one can take the Flash from me, and everyone has to do it my way. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I have never thought of that. Eobard Thawne is the ultimate bad fan.
That's so cool. And to think these are just, digital ones that, DC just, dumped out in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, and again, too, you can read it because it's not really connected to any continuity. No. It's just kind of its own thing. But yeah, it's pretty solid, and it actually looks to be heading to an interesting finale, too, where Zoom and Flash are going to be chasing each other around time.
Nice.
Yeah, which I'm like, all right, works for me. Good shit. But yeah, so that's two good Flash stories you can read right now.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier in the show, but we also had those Batman ones, the Gotham Knights.
Yeah. Yeah, from Mark Russell. All the other ones were written by Michael Gray, but this last one, and I think it's the last one because they actually put the end at the end of it.
Well, they've been doing that for a lot of the stories.
Have they this the end look different? Because like I thought in weeks before they're like, oh, and to be continued or come back next week for.
Yeah, no, well, they've been doing it. I think every issue of Swamp Thing, yet every issue of Swamp Thing is connected.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was written by Mark Russell, and you will not be surprised to find out that it was a very topical polemic on the nature of predatory capitalism, as told through the eyes of Bruce Wayne. He's barely Batman in this story,
and that's really why I like the issue. I like when Bruce gets some time to play and some time to shine and be the hero. And I absolutely love that he was after his own people, really.
Yeah, he's just hanging out at the country club, not drinking, which I thought was really funny. And they're like, hey, Bruce, we were all sitting around talking about how we made and maintained our billions. You know, I dump toxic waste. I run a human trafficking operation. Well, I call it a modeling agency, but I'm sure to take all their passports when they come. What about you? Oh, I'm in the pharmaceutical game. I created a highly addictive painkiller, which is enjoyed as a party drug now. Oh, it's such fun.
And then Batman just beats the shit out of him.
I love that Batman has this moment of like, you just admitted to like so many, what do I do? I guess I gotta come back as Batman and beat you up now. And then Batman actually beats these guys up like he would any mugger, and I'm like, that's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, no one is different in the fists of Batman.
Which is really how it should be, whether you're a purse snatcher or, you know, some hedge fund guy. Batman will kick your ass all the same. And really, this issue is like how, you know, rich people don't do the justice system like other people. Like, they're given private cells and unlimited phone calls, and they use those phone calls to call Bruce Wayne. Hey, Bruce Wayne, 1% buddy, would you do me a favor? You see, I got my sex yacht out in international waters. Can you go get my counterfeit papers and my $1 million worth of bribe cash right quick? Thanks, buddy.
One line that happened before that, and I really wish other writers would address this, because it's such a really cool idea, and it's the idea that when you get busted by a Batman, no matter who you are, your lawyer or anyone is not going to come anywhere near you, because the Batman got involved in this. And if the Batman got involved in this, there's a good reason why you're in that cell. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense, because it's like Batman has saved the world. He has saved other planets. He saved the multiverse. If Batman beat you up, then yeah, you probably did something wrong. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a very smart idea, and also kind of a terrifying idea, too, because it's like, well, but Batman's a human, though. He's fallible. What if he gets it wrong? And sometimes he does.
There's another story.
Again, yeah, hey, Mark Russell, what do you got there? What happens to the ones that superheroes get wrong and actually don't do it right? And then the Joker enters the story, but what's funny about the Joker is that he's, like, not even like how the Joker is usually portrayed. He's the, like, yo, I'm here for money, pay me.
Yeah, he's just like gangster Joker. Like, just in it for the money. Just, you can hire him hire his legal services.
I mean, I guess, you know, if he keeps wanting to buy, you know, like funhouse layers and bombs that look like chattering teeth and chemicals to make Joker toxin, I guess every so often he does have to do some money gigs.
Yeah.
And this was one of them where it's like, you know, these rich guys will need to be broken out of jail. Surely I can get on top of this. And he does. And then they even flip it again where it's like, okay, so here's the thing, Bruce, that you didn't know, but the Joker actually did. These guys washed their money, their dirty, ill-gotten gains through Wayne Industries outlets. So how does that make you feel?
I really enjoy that he unknowingly helped Batman in that regards.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, wait, what? What did you say, Joker? Oh, yeah, I totally did my due diligence. I looked into it, and yeah, these guys were using your company.
I love the idea of Joker doing his due diligence. I just love that he's on the computer looking them up on LinkedIn.
Yes, this doesn't quite add up. Yes, Joker has the receipts. It's great, too, because it plays into this bigger theme that, you know, Bruce doesn't talk much in the issue, but you hear his internal monologue, and he says, you know, as rich people in America, you basically need to be two people at one time. You need to be the face that you show the world, the face that's like, oh, you know, I'm a job creator, so, you know, that justifies all the bad things I do, da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, you know, as you are these two people, one side will always end up getting stronger, and that's a real problem. And Batman, he's waving his fingers at these rich guys this whole issue, only at the end to be like, fuck, I'm two people at once. I'm Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I really dropped the ball. Shit. And that he clearly doesn't tell anyone, too. Like, Batman is so ashamed at the end of that story. He's just like, putting that in here, not gonna tell Gordon.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's aware of it, and he knows it's wrong, but he won't admit it's wrong to anyone.
To see Batman actually be ashamed of something is quite interesting.
It is. It's really damn cool.
Yeah, like, that's an emotion you never get from your heroes, let alone Batman, who always exists in a world of like, well, I'm right all the time. So to see him actually ashamed is funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Again, Mark Russell is really interesting in his writing because, again, he's a political satirist, he's a comedian, and he always has these weird and interesting takes on heroes.
Yeah, he did. Just speaking of Mark Russell, he's been doing the Swamp Thing book as well. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I read the issue. I've read issue 3, and it was actually really cool because it's Alec Holland. Like he's kind of been hunted by Sunderland. He's just been hunting him nonstop. So he's kind of like hiding out in the swamp and just be like, oh, I just stay here for the rest of my life and just die. It'll be glorious. He's all mopey and everything. But he meets this family that live on the bayou, and he gets invited into their house and be part of their family and whatnot. Because they're just like, it's a Swamp Thing. He's just part of the swamp.
Real salt of the earth types. And
what's really cool is that the father, he has like a bad heart condition, and he tells his kids that like when he dies, he doesn't want them to be sad or anything. He wants them to remember the good times and laugh, and because life to him is a scare and a bit of a laugh as well. And he ends up dying, and
naturally
it's fucking like, leave it to Mark Russell to make this like funny, but like when the kids go looking for Swamp Thing to help find their father and they find him dead, they panic and they gun their speedboat into his corpse. and he just like slumps against the tree, and they're like asking Swamp Thing if he's okay, and Swamp Thing's like, really? Really? But that's like the whole point. That's the whole, like, and they're like, oh yeah, that of course he died like that. Of course he died. That's exactly how we want to go out, and kind of give Swamp Thing like a new perspective on life and be like, oh yeah, I should kind of like live life as it is. And there's a whole thing of like how everything is food for something else, and in the end of it, he absorbs the man's corpse into his body to become part of him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's been doing some really great stuff with Swamp Thing.
Yeah, leave it to Mark Russell to make like a whole thing about life and death funny.
Yeah, and he's been running this whole like Sunderland Foods storyline in the background, because again, it's like Mark Russell, he's like taking on capitalism and like these big evil food companies and whatnot. It's been great. It's great.
Again, we offhandedly mentioned it before, but I hope he gets Harley Quinn. I think he could do some interesting stuff with that character.
Absolutely.
And lots of people would probably read it too, because like all these other books he's done, they've been good, but they've been like niche side books and everything.
Yeah.
To actually give him like one of the pillars and be like, okay, go nuts.
Yeah, I think they would definitely benefit from it.
Yeah, I also finished Punisher Soviet just tonight. I wrote up my video. I didn't have time to record it. I'll probably record it tomorrow and everything. But yeah, it was a fun 6 issues. Garth Ennis, going back to his roots.
It's good. Yeah, it's good to see Frank actually kind of have like a friend or a kindred spirit.
Yeah, very much so. And you think like, oh, this guy's the anti-Punisher. They're gonna fight. Nah, actually, they help each other out.
No, and it was actually surprising that the guy Valeri actually kind of dies near the end of the book, like before the book's even over.
Yeah, so like Punisher has to take on his revenge quest for him. The other thing I really liked, and Ennis has actually done this a lot of times before, but like I think he does it the most succinctly here, where he's like, the Russian invasion of Afghanistan from like 79 to 89 is very similar to the American war in Vietnam and everything, and like these are two people who hated each other as enemies for so long, but really should have learned from each other because they basically made all the same mistakes, and that's why Valerie or Valeri, however you want to call it, really likes Frank, and Frank likes him. Where it's like, oh yeah, we lived very similar lives, huh?
Yeah, they're cut from the same cloth. They're mirror images of one another in just from different times.
Uh-huh. And obviously, too, they update it to modern wars in the Middle East, and it's like, hey, he was fighting the Mujahideen, and I'm like, oh, yes, those guys who are actually backed by the American government who would end up becoming the Taliban. Oh, yes, those guys.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I really enjoyed about the book as well was that he kind of did something new with it, because the whole story is about him fighting this mob boss, and they go in one issue they go after the mob boss's wife, and she's not your cliche like mob boss trophy wife. She's actually really smart.
No, she turns out to be the brains of the operation. Yeah. And in fact, as they go on longer and get more and more topical, where it's like, yeah, this Russian mobster, well, he was really more of an oligarch. He was a pencil pusher. He never really made it out in the field that much. But, he's trying to buy some legitimate power now to, squirrel away for a rainy day. Oh, how he's doing that. Oh, he's getting involved in an American election. I'm like, oh, of course he is, isn't he? Well, it's a senator now, but, the senator might run for president later. You don't know. And I'm like, oh, that's fun, Ennis. I see what you're doing. You're not calling it out, but I totally see what you're doing.
Yeah, it wasn't on the nose as many other things like that have been.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And again, too, being like, hey, America and Russia so closely tied, fighting such similar battles, but always refusing to learn from any of these things.
Yep.
which again, very, very Punisher. I mean, he did that a lot. In what is it in? I think the story from Max was Up is Down, Black is White, where there was a Russian villain in that one too who was a general, and it's funny to see like Ennis has almost like softened on the Russian people when he wrote this story, because like he wrote them as pretty inhuman monsters in Max.
Yeah, well, everyone will get their due like that, I think.
That's true. I mean, that's Ennis in a nutshell. I mean, that's what I think makes Ennis a writer I always come back to and always appreciate more than a lot of his contemporaries like Millar and like Azzarello, where it's like, these guys never really grew up or changed, but Ennis, every time he writes a book, he's like, actually, I've grown a little softer in my old age.
Yeah, he isn't doing it. He isn't doing Edge for the sake of Edge. There's a reason for it. Like in that last issue where Frank gets the guy to like skin that senator, there was a reason for that. It was a story reason.
It was thematically relevant, and then the final line is great too. It's like, no, I'm not even gonna kill you. I just called the cops on you. Tell them the Punisher made you skin that man, and see what they have to say. I'm like, wow, you got him, Frank. Got him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to also there's also that new Punisher book coming out, but it's been delayed obviously because of this.
Barracuda Punisher,
yeah, that's coming out, and also Ennis is writing a story for DC's Heavy Metal.
Oh, is he? That's right. I bet it's gonna be a war story. I bet it's gonna be about Sergeant Rock, or I bet he's gonna bring back Hitman in some variety.
Yeah, he's writing one. Warren Ellis is writing one, which makes sense since he's doing some stuff at DC at the moment as well as Chip Zdarsky.
Ooh, nice. Zeke said something so perfect there in the chat. Ennis understands that Edge is a seasoning, not a topping. Yes. So many people. That is perfect and succinct, and yep, put that on a shirt. Too many people don't get that. Edge is meant to be used sparingly, not supposed to be the whole dish.
No, yeah.
I like that a lot. But so that was a good video. I'm going to be doing that soon on the channel. I'm actually kind of changing up how I do the story so far, because normally I would be like down in the corner all MST3K style. And I'm like, that's a lot of filming to do and a lot of cuts I have to keep having to make. Let me pick my moment to actually show up in the video. How about that?
Yeah, I recently did that with I'm going back and reviewing all the Hawkman issues I missed, and I've done the first 2 volumes, and yeah, I was going to do something similar to that where I kind of show up, but I was like, oh, there's way too much editing already for a video that's like 18 minutes long already.
Some of those stories so far as I've done had like 18 little like 30-second clips in there that I had to keep editing together, and I'm like, this is a nightmare. This is the worst. I need a goddamn editor. I need a friggin' intern I can push this shit on. Make it their problem, not mine. But, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the show for this week. We had a lot of good topics, talked for a while there, and have almost done a full hour 30, which is the average length for this show anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing we're still getting actual content in this time period.
It's because we're warriors, Matt. We're podcast warriors. We do it just because. We do it because we can, because we care. Getting in there, getting the show in there, getting all up in you, all up in the audience. People need their entertainment, Matt. We're going to deliver it to them, God damn it. And then we're going to go to Washington. We're going to take back the White House. Careful with that meme, kids. That one's an antique. That one's going to break any minute. But yes, thank you, everyone, for coming and showing up. We had about 30 people at one point. That was very nice.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
As always, you can catch us every Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on Matt's Twitch. That's Matt_FOS. You can find us there. I usually always try and tweet about it as soon as I can. Thank you, everyone who donated and followed and everything. Always much appreciated. It's always nice that you guys spend your weekend with us and spend a lot of time with us now because of the quarantine. Again, thanks to our patrons who help make this show possible. In fact, actually, one of our top patrons, Matt, he got to cash in his thing for what he wanted us to do a commentary on. Apparently, he wanted the first Ant-Man, so next time we do a commentary, we're going to be doing that one.
Lovely. That's a good film.
It is. I was surprised we didn't do it. I had to look back, and I'm like, did we not do that? We didn't do it?
Yeah, come to think of it, yeah, I'm surprised that isn't one we have done.
Yeah, well, we'll have to hop on that then, which, will be good and easy because it's a fun one, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Definitely.
Yeah, so again, thank you so much for listening to everyone. If you are a patron, you'll get to hear this episode first before anyone else, both in audio and video format. For everyone else, this one goes live Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to check that one out there. Always good stuff, always appreciated, and we will be back again, everyone. Same Comic Multiverse time, same Comic Multiverse channel. So bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.